Okay, so I do want to continue with our regular weekly study. I just wanted to talk about Rosh Hashanah a bit, but I want to continue with our regular weekly study, which is on Pirkei Avot. We are in the 3rd chapter, in the 12th Mishnah, in the 12th section, and Rabbi Ishmael, who was a Kohen Gadol, a great Kohen, one of the last Kohanim we had, who was active, and he said like this: Havei kal lerosh, be flexible to leaders. Meaning, if you're in a new job, by the way, we're talking about Rosh, which is Rosh Hashanah. If you're in a new job, he says, Havei kal lerosh. Those that are on top of you, be flexible with them. Oh, they say things which are really annoying. Okay, yeah, sure. Don't get into arguments with those that are above you. Be very flexible with them. That doesn't mean you should let people walk all over you, but it does mean that if you want to succeed, those that are above you, be flexible with them and be easygoing to hear what they have to say, because they are above you in whatever position you are in your life. Those that are above you, be flexible with them. It's not worth taking a fight and arguing. It's much easier to just say okay and be flexible with them. Okay. And then he says, V'noach letishchoret, be pleasant to those that are dark-haired. Who are the ones that are dark hair? The people that are young. As you get older, your hair goes white. Absolutely. You look very young.
Thank you, Rabbi.
I'm serious. V'noach letishchoret, be pleasant to those that are young. What does that mean? Put yourself in a position that you can get along with them, meaning, although you know so much more, although you are so much better and so much more aware and alert, never neglect those that are below you. So how it works is you get a new job, you look at your boss, you say, okay, I'll be easygoing with him. He sends you a bunch of emails, okay, yeah, sure. Right, you get along with the boss. Eventually, after a year or two, what happens to all the new people that come in? Don't need him for. But don't worry, be nice and pleasant to those that are young, because they will help you at some point also. You will need them and they will be there for you. So whatever position you're in, be aware. Those that are above you and those that are below you. We find that one nakuda that's a problem and we're like, whoa, that's everything. I can't talk to that person. He says, Havei mekabelet kol ha'adam b'simcha. Accept the entirety of the person. Don't look at the simple parts of the person that are faulty. Look at the entirety of the person and accept them with happiness. Because, it's easy in our world to point the flaws of everyone, and that's how you don't get along with those above you and those below you. Oh, I can't believe they spoke to me like this. I can't believe they said this to me. I can't believe that person, that kid, so rude. Why is he not respecting me? It's always a battle of those above you and those below you. We can't get along with them. So what does he say? Havei mekabelet kol ha'adam, accept the entirety of that person, b'simcha, with joy and happiness. Look at him and say, I am happy about all the good aspects of that person as well. And then you will be able to get along. It's interesting, we say that when it comes to other people, we'll cancel them, right? Someone asked me this week, what do you think, Rabbi, of cancel culture? What do you think I said? Terrible. It's terrible. Do you know what cancel culture is? It's an unforgiving culture. Just because that meal didn't work out for you, it means you have to post it and destroy that person's business. That's cancel culture. That's an unforgiving culture. And what happens to someone who doesn't forgive others? You don't get forgiven. Okay? I see cancel culture as a lot of an unforgiving culture. And what we need to do is be a little more forgiving. So, why are we unforgiving? Because it's somebody else. Oh, if it was me, forgive myself. Right? How many mistakes did we do this year? Many. A lot. How do we forgive ourselves? Absolutely. Right? We forgive ourselves all the time. I spoke like this, I said this to someone, I mistakenly said this, I forgive myself. But when they do it to me, oy vavoy. Right? They say in Hebrew, oy vavoy. If somebody does something to me, I'll remember it for life. My neighbor, they drove on my driveway and they parked there just to reverse for 5 minutes, and they went into the house, they said they're coming back. But for 5 minutes I couldn't drive out. But I did that to someone else. That's okay. I needed it. For me, it was important. I had to go there. For them, it's not. I will not forgive them. Okay, so cancel culture is teaching us to be unforgiving, and that's not good. Okay? Not everything that you don't like should go public and ruin that person, because that's unforgiving. So that's what he says. Hevei mekabel et kol ha'adam b'simcha, accept all of the person with joy. Okay. One more statement of Rabbi Akiva in Mishnah number 13. Rabbi Akiva used to say, are you ready? Another teaching. One more teaching and we'll finish with that. Schok v'kalut rosh. Laughter is good or not good?
Great.
Laughter is the best medicine, right? What about laughter on the expense of something that's important? Okay, and we do that sometimes also. Taking something that's serious and devaluing it. Okay, that's why it's called kalut rosh, lightheadedness. So he says, laughter and lightheadedness, magilim et ha'adam le'erva, causes a person to promiscuity. Why? Because people don't have value anymore. And eventually, all you care about is how you feel, and a human doesn't matter anymore. So although laughter is important, although having joy is important, but when it's on the expense of something that's important, one should always avoid laughing at it. Okay, so for instance, you see somebody who's old, who's walking down the street, and you find the need to laugh at it. Or, I don't know, somebody who's not cool. I don't want to say anything because I might offend someone. But someone who's not cool enough, so you start laughing at them, right? Unless there's a reason to laugh off. It's very hard, by the way, to make comedy that's not on the expense of somebody else, right? When it's on the expense of someone else, that's not healthy, because what you're doing is you're making people light. In your eyes, you're taking away their value, and eventually...
To embarrass someone else.
Yes.
Especially in front of a crowd.
You can't embarrass someone publicly, and even when they're not around, you can't embarrass them, right? It's awesome. So he says that when somebody makes laughter of something that's serious, eventually they will lead to promiscuity, because nothing comes serious at that point, and it goes from bad to worse, and there are no values. Then he says, Masoret siyag la Torah. The way to understand the Torah is through oral Torah, right? It's a fence to Torah. Basically, if you understand, if you look at the explanations and the deeper meanings of it, then you'll value the Torah in itself. But if you just read it and look at it from face value, it won't have as much value to it, meaning it won't be as deep and as beautiful. He says, giving a tenth is a fence, is a safety fence towards wealth. What would you say? Giving charity is going to make you wealthier? No way. I made $100,000 this year. I'm going to give 10% to charity? That means I'm 10% less. No way. I only have 90,000. No way. I want everything. What do we say? When you give away 10%, you're giving blessing to the other 90%. So the logic, there's a lot of things in Judaism that the logic is exactly the opposite of what you might think normally. Okay? This is one of them. In Judaism, we say that tithing is actually a way to become wealthier. When you make your cup smaller, but always overflow your cup, right? Make sure, right? Let's say you have a certain amount of money. Just make your cup smaller, but always make sure your cup is overflowing. And what happens? That's a blessing in your cup. It says that after Shabbat, we're meant to make the Havdalah cup, and we're meant to make it overspill a little bit. Why? So that the blessings should go throughout the week. That's how it is meant to be with our life also. That when you are tithing 10%, the 90,000 that you've got becomes a full cup. And you make that cup overflow it starts bringing much more blessing into the money you have already. A very interesting idea. A lot of Judaism's like that, where logically it's the opposite, but in reality, the truth is the other way around. You see this in many aspects of life. Someone asked me this week, this is not me promoting more kids, but someone asked me this question. So he asked me, if you have one kid, if you have one kid, so less work. If you have 3 kids, 4 kids, should mean that you are just going crazy. And I grew up as one kid, and my parents were like going crazy.
The older ones take care of the younger ones.
That's true. So the truth is, you can never take care of your kid the way another child can. When one child entertains, I walked into my house the other day, Abraham's riding on his new bike, and Tehillah sits herself on the back of it, laughing at the top of her lungs as he's riding around the room. I can't do that. I can't entertain her, not in that way. She will fall, it'll be dangerous. On my bike, it's like, I can't sit on that small bike. But the kids can entertain themselves. So the logic says the opposite. What does logic say? Logic says the less, the easier. And the opposite is true. Actually, sometimes when you have more, it's easier, right? So in Judaism, you see this across the spectrum. There's a lot of things. For instance, they say that if a couple, this is about dating, they say that if you move in together, chances of divorce are higher. This is a research that's been done across the spectrum. Somebody who moves in before marriage is more likely to get divorced. Okay?
I'm joking.
But it's also more difficult to get married. You know why? Because you say to yourself, okay, look at this problem that person has. Look at that problem. No one's perfect. The point of marriage is you can't wait till you get perfect. You get perfect together. That is the point of marriage. We start at a certain stage and we work on growth together. If you expect the other side to be perfect for you before you even get married, then what the heck is the point of getting married in the first place? Right? The whole point of marriage is to grow together. That is the expectation. So there has to be a start where you are not perfect. And by default, everyone here must agree that whatever age you are now, you want to be a better person in 10 years from now, right? No matter who you are, you say, I want to be a better person 20 years from now. So when you have marriage, the point is, we are going to live together, meaning grow together. That is the definition. So before marriage, you are never perfect. So when are you going to wait? Live together and then see each other's faults and then live with them and then say, oh no, I don't like that. I don't like this. You know what? There's other things. There's another person available there. There's another one there. And it always makes the decision so much harder. And when you do make the decision, you're more unhappy with the decision you made because of it. Okay, so how did I get to that? Because I said that the opposite of what you think sometimes, right, is exactly what really happens. We think giving 10%, I'm going to lose more money. The answer is no, my cup is overflowing. That's why I'm giving 10%. I reduce my amount that I'm spending in the year, but I make my cup start overflowing. How does that affect my inner sense of self? Happy, fulfilled, overfilled, right? I'm overflowing. And eventually that has a bracha on the money I have as well. My cup is overflowing. That means I'm giving an energy of overflowing. I'm giving an energy that I'm happy with where I'm at. And that has a huge impact on the way I talk to people, the way I date, the way I everything. Right? So the way to become wealthy is to give a tenth. By the way, in Hebrew, what's a tenth? To give a tenth makes you wealthier. Brian, this is not for you. Giving a tenth, giving a tenth makes you wealthier.
I tried, it actually works.
It does work. Giving a tenth makes you wealthier.
But for me,
Wait 1 second. What's a tenth in Hebrew? Does anyone know? What is it? What's being wealthy in Hebrew? Anyone? Wealthy? Ashir. What's 10 in Hebrew? Eser. Ashir and Eser is the same word. Do you hear that? Being wealthy and giving 10. Ashir, Eser is the same word, just Yud. There's only difference is Yud. Okay, a wealthy person and Eser, which is Ma'aser. That's why the Talmud says, Aser kedei shetit asher. Give a tenth in order that you will become wealthy. You are guaranteed. It's the one thing God says you could try me on, is giving a tenth of your money to tzedakah, to someone that's in need. Okay, and if you don't know who, there are many websites and places that you could trust. I could tell you about after. Okay, one or two last things. The way to becoming wise is to be silent. Siyag lachochma shtika. What would you think? Come wise, talk more. The opposite. The more silent you become, the more wisdom you absorb. The more wisdom you're able to receive, and the more you are able to hear. Siyag lachochma shtika. The way to becoming wiser is to be quiet. The opposite of what we would think. Everything here is the opposite. The way to become more sensitive to our environment is actually to make an oath. Although in Judaism, Nadarim Siyag la Prishut, it says in Judaism we shouldn't make oaths, but if I see that I've got a problem, I'm addicted to food, let's say, it's good to make an oath that you'll go on a diet, to push yourself to go on a diet. Or make an oath to push yourself to be better, right? Although our words have to be kept, when it comes to making an oath, you should actually do it to become improved. Anyway, these are the words of Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Ishmael. And with that, I'll just finish off with one reminder. You are the child of the king, like we said. The Father is knocking at your door, and He's got a water waiting for you every single morning, for you to drink, for you to breathe, for you to live, right? God's there every single day. The question is, are we there for our Creator to say thank you and to be connected? And that's the blessing of Rosh Hashanah every year. I hope you all have a great new year. Lots of blessings, lots of osher, lots of wealth, lots of wisdom. And what did we say? The way to wisdom, Brian, is? I said it. Come on, you didn't hear? Listening. Silence. Silence is the way to wisdom. The way to wealth, Brian. What's the way to wealth? Giving, charity, 10%. Okay, giving 10% is a way to becoming more wealthy. And also Rosh Hashanah, you are the child of the king. We wake up, then we change. The small things make a difference. It's normal to make mistakes. That's why we have Rosh Hashanah every year. And that's it. Shana Tova umetuka. Have a sweet and happy year. I'm excited to see you next week. Okay.